good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Rising Woman conversation. So good to have you all join us. So welcome. I'm truly happy that you're all here tonight to support and be a part of this amazing conversation. The Rising Woman is more than a community. It's actually a space where women are challenged to grow intentionally and heal honestly and become cautious of who they really want to be, grow into the woman they want to become. And tonight we're having this amazing conversation that can genuinely shift the way you see your life. Because whether we like it or not, our lives are actually shaped by our daily choices. So this is not just a big decision. It is small, repeated choices that we make deliberately that form us into the people that we are. So tonight is not just about to blame anyone or to shame anyone, but this is to have a conversation to create awareness and to have us begin to take responsibility for our choices and realizing that the changes that we make has to be intentional if we really want to evolve. And I couldn't think of a better person to have this conversation with than my lovely Ebube Olivia Akweme. You're welcome. She's someone with a great message. Immediately I came across this great woman, I just resonated with her. And why is this? Because she speaks honesty, clarity, and depth about intentional living and personal growth. Ebube is one person that I thought of, that she takes her time to choose well and takes accountability for what she does. I knew this, and I know that this conversation tonight is going to be amazing. So, Ebube, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you. Please introduce yourself.
Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening here from the United Kingdom. Good evening to you, Ejiro, in Sweden, to friends across the world, from the US to Africa to wherever you may be. I hope that you're having an amazing Sunday. Well, before I start, I want to greet the forces of nature, the mothers that are here, the ones who are the home builders, the let me call them the kingdom holders to their homes. Basically, these are the moms. I want to say a very happy Mother's Day. I know that Mother's Day is being celebrated on different days and months and all whatnot, but today is being celebrated in the US. So I send my greetings and to maybe Nigeria as well. To all of you there, I say happy Mother's Day. So I am Ebube Olivia Akweme, and I really want to thank Ejiro as well for this invite. In fact, I would say that it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be on here to share a word or two about making powerful choices on a daily basis. That's a compounding effect of, how we create the kind of lives that we want to live. So I want to say, Ejiro, thank you for the invite, and I'm happy to be here. I'm a mom of five and I'm a parentpreneur. So parenting or mompreneur and being an entrepreneur as well. I'm a speaker and author of two books. The first one titled Be Better, and the other one is Balance the Unbalanced Life. So it's a privilege to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome, Ebube. Like she said, let me not also miss to actually congratulate every woman out there. We appreciate every single woman out there because it's not easy to be a woman. And so, ladies, put on your crown, fix it properly because you are queens and you are amazing. So happy Mother's Day as well to every single one of us around the globe. And yeah, so we're just gonna move from there directly and let us begin. Let's dive in, my dear. Let us just go straight and begin with our first question. The first question is, do you
Hmm.
believe people truly become the result of the choices they repeatedly make?
First of all, let's define what is a choice. When you talk about choices, a choice is basically having options. You have different options before you. You either go this way or do something in a particular way or another way, basically. So to answer that question, I would say yes. But what's the reason? The reason is down to this thing called the law of compounding effect. I mentioned that at the beginning. The law of compounding effect is the reason why people sometimes go on and on and on and on and create certain results and then become the results. Because when you keep on doing the same thing every time, you create this compounding effect. Now, when you do it once, say for instance, let me use something that's very common and relatable to everyone. You say, okay, you want to lose weight, for instance. It can be anything. You say you want to lose weight and you're eating the wrong food. Maybe the first day might not really matter. Maybe the chocolate and that and all those things that you know you're not meant to be eating, you're not exercising. And the first day might not make sense. It might not have it might not show, that you're actually eating the wrong food or not doing the exercises. And then we talk about a week, there might not be any difference. And then we look at 1 month, maybe not much. But then you look at that same person, let's say 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, that's a year. And then you find out, okay, they're adding more weight, they're not, putting off weight. And that's the law of compounding effect. And that can happen in any of the areas of life, which I'm going to talk about later. So to answer that question, Ejiro, the answer is simple. It's a yes, that we make our choices, but then our choices end up making us.
Wow, amazing. Our choices end up making us. That is a powerful one. And that is true, because the decisions we make us who we are, right? We are here tonight and we've decided to be here tonight. So we're definitely not going to go back the same. We're going back as different people. So I just want to, this will just, smoothing in to the next question. I just want to know, what are some small choices that we as women make daily that end up shaping our lives? What are those small choices? We think we overlook them. We're like, no, this is small. I don't think this will do anything big. But there are small things that add up. I know you already used the example of, planning to lose weight and all of that. But I just want you to
Yes.
pinpoint. You're a woman, you're a mother of five. What are those small choices that we overlook but really have huge impact later on?
So I mentioned the 5 areas or the areas of life. There are actually 5 of them. And those small choices can come up in any of those 5 areas of our lives. I'm going to tell you what the 5 areas are. The first one is health. I already mentioned something around health, weight loss. It can be anything. People have so many goals that they want to achieve when it comes to their health. It can be mental health because there's so many little umbrellas, or let me put it this way, there's so many areas, tiny little subtopics under health. The second one is finance. It can be, it has to do with debt, it has to do with your income, increasing your income, it has to do with creating financial freedom. There's so many things under there as well. The third one is your relationships. The fourth one is your work or your career. And the fifth one is your spirituality. Now, when we talk about small choices, the small choices, as I mentioned, can come up in any of those 5 areas that I mentioned. So it all depends on exactly what you're trying to achieve or what you're trying to create in your life. Say, for instance, going back to that example of, weight loss, you're trying to lose weight for health reasons. It might be that you're challenged when it comes to, maybe some health diseases or whatever it might be, and you need to lose weight. Okay, that might be one issue. It could be that you're experiencing some kind of dehydration, you need to drink more water. The small choices are very, very simple. They are the tiny little insignificant things that you do on a daily basis that they don't seem to make any difference. But when you stop doing them or when you don't do them at all, you kind of run into trouble. Trouble could be health challenges, financial problems, relationship problems, spiritual problems, or your work or your career. Okay? Small choices. Let's take work or career, for instance. Imagine if you're somebody who turns up to work late every day. Let's say you turn up to work late once in a while. Okay, that's not understandable. Maybe traffic or some kind of incident happened, but you constantly are doing this on a daily basis. Do you feel that when it comes to things like promotion or recommendation or things like that at work, people cannot use that against you? They can use things like that against you and it can work, in the opposite direction against you. So the point I'm trying to make is that your small choices will come up in any of those 5 areas. And you have to ask yourself, what exactly right now in my life is my priority? If I'm trying to better my work, my career, what's my attitude? What are the tiny little things that I do or I don't do on a daily basis in any of those 5 areas of life: health, finances, relationships, spirituality, your work or career, that you're not doing that is kind of affecting you? Those are the kind of questions you should ask yourself. Now, there are many things that can affect the reason why you're not doing that, but that's conversation for another time, or maybe if Ejiro asked me that question. But the reality is that there are many little things that when we look at in our lives, in any of those 5 areas: health, finances, relationships, spirituality, work, or career, that we do or don't do, that in the long term, in the long run, yeah, many months from now, many years from now, today might be insignificant, but many years from now, many days from now, months from now, years from now, due to that law of compounding effect, will begin to affect us.
Wow, compounding effects that will begin to affect us whether we plan for it or not. That is an amazing one, and that is just the truth of life. So, I just really want to talk about this because, of course, maybe most of us have made these mistakes in the past, but unfortunately, our choices, we have no way of controlling that they will make us who we are, because they truly make us who we are or who we become. So, many women struggle with regrets from choices that they made before. They somehow take accountability for their past choices. And how can they do that without feeling stuck, without feeling ashamed, without this guilt in them? How can they actually take accountability for these choices?
Okay, again, I like to define things before I talk about them. And let's just call regret for what it is. It's actually a very negative emotion. It's something, it's a mixture of sadness and some kind of longing. It feels like there's an emptiness, there is a lack, there's some kind of gap in the person's, when you think about that particular thing that is bringing you that regret. That's where you experience the mixture of sadness and loss. That's what regret is. It's a negative emotional state. So it feels like that. Okay. Now, I want to say something. Regret itself can be associated with failure. Does that make sense? Because regret means that you were meant to do something, or you were meant not to do something and you did it. So it can go in either way. Does that make sense? So, for instance, I can give the example. Let me continue with that example I've been using. I regretted eating that bar of chocolate. So I did it, but I regret it, not take time, and then I added weight. So it can go in either way. Regret can come from things you do or things that you do not do. It can come from either way. Regardless of how it comes, it's never a welcoming feeling. It's never somewhere people want to, you don't sit in your regret and rejoice. You sit in your regret and you feel very sad. But like I said, it's a part of failure. And what do you do with failure? What do you do with regret when things haven't gone according to, or you're wishing, when you look back, because regret comes from knowledge, from hindsight. It's not, you don't foresee regret. You experience it after a period of time, an incident, or whatever it might be. And so you look back, you look in, you're in hindsight, and you're saying to yourself, I wished it went that way, or it went the other way, or I said that, or I didn't say that, whatever it might be. So we already understand that regret is not somewhere people want to sit down and rejoice. Nobody rejoices in their regret. But let me tell you what you can do with your regrets. First of all, regret shows that you're a human being. I don't think there's anyone in life that doesn't have one kind of regret or the other. Men inclusive, everybody has some level of regret. But the thing with regret is this: I always treat regret like I treat failure, which is, it's a feedback. It means that there was something you were meant to do or not do, and you didn't take the necessary action. That's exactly what it is. So it's a feedback. So to answer your question, Adriel, it's all about asking yourself, how would you handle that regret? How would you handle it? It's by seeing it for exactly what it is. It's not a death sentence, but it's a call to action. It's a wake-up call in many cases. There's a quote that I put on my Facebook, and it's a realization that I came to, that you see, life would give you many chances, and life does give you a lot of second chances. But there's something again with life. You do not take those second chances for granted. So you see, when you have regrets, it's not the end of the world and it's not a death sentence, but it's a call to action. It's time for you to begin to change one or two things in your life, or to right the wrong. Right the wrong simply means that you look into the thing that is causing the regret and you say to yourself, what exactly can I do here that can produce a different outcome, so that I don't feel this way I'm feeling and I don't experience that regret anymore. So regret means you did or did not do something, you said or you did not say something, whatever it might be. It might be an action or inaction, but the reality is, if you can treat regret as a feedback, as this is information, this is something I need to work on. So that's the mindset you should have towards all regrets you have in your life. And again, your regrets will always come from those 5 areas in life. 1, your health. A lot of people have regrets around their health. I didn't do the things I was meant to do. I gave a very typical example, not taking health seriously. And then, especially for we women, like adding weight and, you know, beginning to experience certain medical conditions that we wished we didn't experience, maybe if we are taking our health, our nutrition, our well-being seriously. Now we're celebrating Mother's Day today. Some mothers will regret overdoing things or a limit to the much a mother should be doing. But sometimes mothers overdo it and they're like, okay, I gave up my career. You begin to feel things that you have done or you didn't do. Maybe you didn't pursue your career, even if it was part-time whilst you were having children, things like that. So there are many things that we can look into. So again, you go back to those 5 areas of life and ask yourself, what is the one area that troubles me the most? The one area that when I look back on, I really experience regret. Learn from the thing that you did or didn't do and ask yourself, number 1, what could be done now? What can I do to rewrite this and produce a different outcome? And then, do you know what you do? The next thing, you must take action. That's it.
Take action. Wow. And that is so, so true, because we really need to come to that feedback state, give ourselves feedback and take accountability for that one thing. That is amazing. That is really amazing. And that one actually brings me to, why is it that it's so unfortunate? I don't know if it's something, I think it's something normal with life. Like, people find it hard to pull out of this. We know that this is a pattern, right? We know that we've been doing this same thing and it's been giving us this same bad result. But why is it that people just keep repeating these same patterns, even when they know that they want change, right? I know that, yes, I want to really lose this weight, but I still wake up in the morning and I still want to eat this, rice and stew. I still want to eat this pounded yam. We even have people who take pounded yam for breakfast, So we know, just using health as an example, of which we know that there are other choices as well. We know that, all right, getting late to work every day is making our colleagues disrespect us, not really look us professional in a way, but we just keep doing it. Why is it that people just find themselves repeating this same pattern, even when they know that they want change?
The first one is environment. You see, we are products. All of us are products of our environment. I gave a speech, this was about 2 months ago, and it had to do with the environment. Wherever you plant yourself, you're most likely to become a product of that environment. So, for instance, if I was born in Sweden and I grew up in Sweden, I'll be Swedish by nature. I might look black, but the way I speak, the language, and all of that. But my early years was in Nigeria, so I can speak the three major languages. Ndewonu,
Wow.
Ekaro,
Wow.
Makaranta, school, things like that, Hausa as well, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, three major languages. That's why, because I'm a product of my environment. We all are. You cannot live in a chocolate factory and expect not to be eating chocolates on a daily basis. It just doesn't work. You must plant yourself in an environment that helps you become what you want to become. It takes me back one step, want to become, because I think that goes down to the crux of the matter and to the very question or the topic of today, which was talking about, the power of daily choices and becoming the woman that you want to become. Who do you want to become? If your environment and in your environment, you're not associating with people that are taking you to the place that you want to go. Meanwhile, you have to know where you want to go. Where you want to go means you need to know who you want to become, what you want to do, and three, what you want to have in life. Those three things. Who do you want to become? What do you want to do? And what do you want to have? If you're not associating yourself, putting yourself in an environment that takes you there, you're simply wasting your time and you're indulging in habits that are taking you nowhere. And essentially what you're doing is creating more regrets. These are future regrets now that you'll be approaching and experiencing in the near future. So environment is a very big deal. Your environment comes from the people that you associate with. It's a big deal. In 5 years from now, check out where you are. It's going to be based on those three things: the people you associate yourself with, the books you read, and the media that you listen to. We have to be very careful of our environment. Your environment must encourage your dreams, your aspirations, your goal, wherever it is that you want to get to. That's number one. So, Ejiro, answering that question, the environment is a big deal. Our environment has this very huge subconscious effect on all of us. That's number one. Number two has to do with this thing called familiarity. You see, familiarity breeds contempt. It does. The reason why people keep on repeating the same thing is because that habit is just familiar. It's something that they're used to. It's comfort. It's, I can identify with that. It's identity. So it's something that, again, it's been done so many times and I'll just do it by default. Sometimes it's born from not thinking things through. Sometimes it's born from laziness, but because that familiarity is there, we just kind of go with the flow. Another reason could be decision fatigue. Some people are very lazy when it comes to thinking things through and then holding themselves accountable to new habits and new choices that would give birth to new habits that will help them to begin to move in the direction that they want to move. A number of reasons. There's another one called unconscious belief. It's, something that we just have in our heads and we react without thinking, or could be the neural pathways. Again, that has to do with familiarity because your brain, once you've done things for many, 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 many years, I don't know, for people that drive on here, it's happened to me so many times, maybe I'm coming back from somewhere. I've driven to my house, over 1,000 times. So when I'm driving, sometimes I just find myself, well, I'm in front of the house. How did I get here? I don't know. I was probably listening to music on the way, or maybe I was listening to some kind of personal development, audio or thinking. Because sometimes I like to, I'm processing my thoughts as I drive. And before I know what's happening, I'm right there. Who did you meet on the way? I can't remember. I'm just in front of my house. It's down to the neural pathways. The brain now is very familiar. So it's down to that thing called familiarity. But scientifically, there's been a path. Like you talked about eating rice, Ejiro. Some people, just the smell, just the sight, has created something in their brain that attracts them to that thing. Whether that thing kills them or not, they're still doing it. Why? They're still doing it because of some of these reasons: environment, fatigue, decision fatigue, neural pathways, just the way the brain works, and so on and so forth. So it's not for one reason that people keep on repeating the same thing, but there's one reason that would make you to do what you need to do, and that's having a very strong why. You must have a reason to do something. It's so strong, and you must know that reason, and it's so powerful that it would trump, it would supersede the other reason that is pushing you, even the one that has been created in your brain. So you must come to a place, and for most people, is always regrets. It's always a place of pain. And that's why I said that regret is in itself is useful. It's not useless. It's a very good feedback. You will come to that place of regret. You will come to that place of pain. You will come to that place where you would, when they say people go on their knees, it's almost like you go on your knees mentally, and you're asking the heavens, you're asking whatever can help you out there, help me. I need to change this. It comes from that. But you see, we human beings sometimes, because of complacency and laziness and environment and all of that, we just keep on going with emotions every day until we come to the place where it's a shock to our system and we have to make a U-turn. It could be a health scare, it could be a financial crisis, it could be relationship problems, where people have problems and they go, okay, maybe I need to change my attitude here. It could be work or career. Yeah. Like we said, coming late, and then it's a wake-up call. It's something, people talk about this wake-up call. Something happens and they have to turn around. Most times, that is when people turn around. Most times. So not one reason causes people to carry on in their wrong choices until they come to a dead end and they realize, if I don't make a decision now, I'm definitely going down the cliff.
Wow. Wow. The wake up call, getting to that point. Oh my goodness. I love
Yes.
this word when you use this phrase. Let me just state it clearly. Regret equals to feedback. So that is an amazing way to, call ourselves back to action and try not to feel guilty or feel stuck or feel ashamed of that bad choice that we've made, because that regret you're feeling is a feedback to us. So this is an amazing point for us to write down. If somebody got that and want to write it in the comment section, let us leave it in the comment section. Regret equals to feedback. So let us not beat ourselves anymore. It is the point, like Ebube said, where we've been pushed to the wall and it's now a wake-up call. That is amazing. Wow. Oh my God. This is getting so interesting. This is getting so interesting. I don't know if women, are we here? Let us just give hearts, and let us, get the heat on in this place, because I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. And this is what I'm talking about. We unlearn to relearn. Wow, Ebube, let us tap a little bit into your own mindset. What mindset shift helped you personally to become more intentional about your life? Because I know that you didn't just become this woman that you are today, it was a process for you. So what was that shift? So maybe some of us could, start to get ourselves online. Could you share with us?
I definitely will share. I will share three. The first one I would tell you has to do with life's lessons. You see, life has a way of teaching you, and you must learn. And I'm going to give a story around my driving lesson. So I would say close to 20 years or more. I don't know. I've been driving for a very, very long time. And I can call myself a professional driver. I'm very strong on the road and I can go for a distance. Yeah. But I never was that kind of a person. When I did my test initially, I failed 5 times.
Wow.
If people can say 5 in the comment section, 5 solid times. Well, let me say 4. And I passed on the 5th time. And I give the story because this story was the pivot that taught me this thing called perseverance. It's a mindset shift. Your question, Ejiro, you would not change your life. You will not change anything until you begin to think differently. It all starts from the mind. When I did my test and I had done my fourth test, and every time I did my test, they would tell me, this is the examiner would tell me, and I can tell you so many stories that happened in that time, but for the sake of time, they would tell me, oh, you drive well. Because I was kind of driving in Nigeria before I came to the UK.
Hmm.
And they were saying, and my dad taught me how to drive. So maybe that's why, initially people say, oh, you drive like a man. I don't know, but that was the feedback I got then. And the four times I drove, the examiners would say, oh, you drove well, but, and at the end of the day, it was a failure. So I came to my fourth test, I had failed, and I told myself, you know what? That's it. I ain't driving in the UK. I'm gonna bust it. I will train it. I will taxi it. I'll get to where I'm gonna get to, but I'll keep going. So there was this guy that used to come around then, an Asian guy, God bless him. And he came around most times and he would, take us where we're going. I was having a conversation. Well, I've done my test four times and that's it. I'm not doing my test anymore. I failed four times. Let me call it quits. And he looked at me and he said, four times. He said, what are you talking about? He said, listen, I have a friend. He's done his six times. And I was like, really? The man said, yes, really. So he's a driver now. And he's saying to me, I've done mine. I mean, I have a friend. I've done his six times. And he told me one thing. He said, you keep going until. I said, until? He said, until.
Wow.
It was a mindset shift.
Hmm.
You see, that kind of experience, I'm going to share another story with you. And that kind of experience are the sort of things that help you, that I call them life's lessons. You have to learn them. Life is saying to me, if you want something, you must persevere.
Hmm.
Even if you fail, if you're trying to achieve something and you don't get it the first time, even the 100th time, keep going.
Hmm.
You see, nobody has the experience you have in the 100 times that you've tried to do it.
Wow.
It's a collection of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I collected experiences four times. I didn't even realize I was rich in experience.
Hmm.
And you're always better off than somebody who does it just once and goes through. So they don't have that endurance. Is the endurance, is the perseverance. So when he told me that, my mind shifted. It was a mind, like a light bulb, like all those things that they say. And I said to myself, I said, you know what? Let me go back to the drawing board and see what I can do about this driving thing. So I go back to the drawing board and I'm bringing out maps. You see, things I had never done before. I started doing them. I brought out maps. I brought out whatever it was I needed to do. Physically, I started studying the roads. And then I know this is not legal, but I would take the car to a very quiet area around the corner of our house, not too far. I was practicing and practicing my reverse parking and this and that. And then on the day of the exam, when it came my practical test, the fifth time, and there were all kinds of things happening on the road that day. There was a pedestrian I wanted to cross. There was a man that was shouting at me, all sort of things. And then we got to the driving center. And I was just waiting for, listen, this was my stance that day. I was like this, I was waiting for the examiner to say, oh, you know what, you failed. I'm like, yeah, just tell me I failed because I'm booking my sixth one. I've been told already, you keep going, even if it's 100 times you do it. So it was a mindset shift. And the guy turned to me and he looked at me and he said, congratulations, you've passed. And I was like, what? Is that all it took? It took me to bring out my map. It took me to study the routes. It took me to do a little bit of practicing. That's it. That's it. And that's life. And that's life. When I was in uni, I was in my first year and I got my results and I didn't like what I was seeing. So I went to a guardian in school. This was in university now. I studied law. That's my background. And it used to be 5 years. I think it's still 5 years. This was in Nigeria. And I said to the man, I said, look at my grades. And he told me, he said, you know what? You see the way you're going to end up with a pass or third class at best. I was like, what did you say? I'm doing law with pass or third class. What do I want to do with that? So I had to wake up. Again, that was a mindset shift. to get serious and to learn this thing called focus. The driver taught me perseverance. This guardian in school taught me focus. When you're going on to something and you're trying to achieve something, you have to learn how to tune in, how to lean in, how to stay focused. And so I started studying. I started reading. In my second year, things improved. And we talk about this thing called daily choices. So I started studying more. I started having my reading habits. I started realizing that I love to read around 4 p.m. when the sun was down and I had rested. And I also learned around that time as well that I couldn't read beyond 1 a.m. at night. That was what I learned. So I started studying myself. I started learning. In my second year, things improved a bit. I went from the D's or God knows whatever it is I was getting to, C's and maybe a few B's. But then from my third year, I started getting A's and B's in my fourth and my fifth year. In fact, if I would expect any results, I was always expecting an A, at the worst, a B, and I ended up graduating with a second class upper. The call was that conversation I had in my first year. If I didn't have that conversation to learn how to lean in and focus, when you want something in life, you can't be distracted. You can't afford to be distracted by human beings, by things that don't make sense. Because I was very social, and I still am, in school, and I was part of this club and all those things were fun things. But then I realized, listen, they these things are only here, but I'm here on a mission and I have to stay focused on my mission. So when I got into law school, I was made the director of sports and socials, and our president at the time was saying to us, oh, we have to achieve this and achieve that. And I called his attention and I said, listen, let me tell you one thing. In law school, you only have 9 months. At the end of 9 months, you either pass and get into the bar or you fail. It's good to do all of these things you're suggesting, but we only have 9 months of focused studies. I learned that from that lecturer. If I didn't learn that, I would have come into law school doing things that I thought were, they're kind of socially important, but they're not. That's not the reason why you're there. I've learned in life that to you have to identify what the rudder. You have to identify what that thing is in your life, in that problem you're trying to solve. What is the one thing that if you focused on that thing and you did that thing, it will change stuff for you? So the first thing, Ejiro, was life's lessons. My mindset changed, learning perseverance, learning focus. As I grew older, I started learning things like goals, dreams, aspirations. There were the things that I understood that if you don't pursue your goals, if you don't have goals, you're going to be aimless. You will go from here to there. So it's always good to be guided. Your goals help you to navigate life. It tells you and gives you that direction. That's why I love goals. You see, the thing about goals is that you don't always have to hit your goals, but it gives you that sense of purpose and direction. So you might say, okay, I want to do something in 3 months. In 3 months, like I want to lose weight. I want to be, I don't know, I want to be, maybe 10 kg off or 20 kg off. You might not be that on the dot, but it's done one thing. It's going to help you create those habits now. Because for you to get to that goal, you have to learn new habits. So it's going to help you to begin to adopt new habits to lead you towards that thing that you want. That's the main essence of a goal, is who you become in the process. It's not necessarily the thing that you get. When you get that thing, it's satisfying as well, but it's not as satisfying as now I'm somebody who is more focused. Now I'm somebody who is more disciplined. All those things are more lasting. So life's goals, life's dreams, desire, aspiration. I want to be someone who, is an entrepreneur who runs businesses and things like that. That's kind of how I focus. That's kind of, the thing that the goal, the dream has given me. And I've also learned, number 3, is to have this thing called self-awareness. Always be aware of who you are. Sometimes we lose sight of who we are, our blind spots. We don't kind of tune in to us. The first person on this earth you need to study. Don't study people, study yourself. Who are you? What makes you tick? What makes you, I don't know, what's the thing that drives you? What do you like? What don't you like? Who do you like to hang out with? What's your favorite color? Some people don't know. What you like, those sort of things. Know who you are. If you know who you are, you know what would tickle your fancy, the things you don't like, the places, the things that strengthens you, your weaknesses. Know everything about yourself. Do a kind of SWOT analysis, your strengths, your weaknesses. What are the opportunities? What are the things that are special to yourself that Ejiro has? Nobody else has, or she has a combination of those things. Ejiro is this kind of a person. She's that kind of a person. That's her uniqueness. Who are you? So that awareness drives you and helps you to become who you want to become.